I know it depends on your internet and your phone or your computer.
Ready?
I think so.
They mark your heads okay.
So,
That's why I refuse to use the phone.
There you go. So we are.
yeah, so
Okay, well, welcome to Trump Thursday. We're back to the hinge as, well, let's get everybody. We started these a year ago at the hinge, and obviously they've had their ups and downs and challenges. We were here last month, and we're glad to be back this month, and we're
Glad to have you back.
we're glad to be back, yes. But we also, of course, are made available to people, well, that looks like a whole bunch of people. We've got people online because, of course, we're in a new reality with COVID, and so we wanted to have a way of including people in person, but also having people available in the background. And one of the people I wanted to just kick off before I introduced our guest speaker is in the middle there, Josephine Wang. Josephine needs to get her microphone off, and she is the chairman of our microphone on. She is the chairman of the Trump campaign here in Montgomery County. Josephine, you want to say a few words?
Okay, hi everybody, welcome, and really honored. And we started this Trump Thursday, June 20th, 2019. And of course, credit is given to Dwight and Mark Ungerford and Marcus and Jeff, and a whole bunch of us. In fact, we had about 88 people who came to our first watch party when the president announced that he was going to run again. And we had the RNC trainer. His name is Tyler Slajak, and gave us a really successful training. So since then, I've been trying to recruit people, and I'm very, very glad that April also came to our very first one, but subsequently, she never missed one La Hinge meeting, Trump Thursday. One day, she was driving with New York. She drove all the way from New York to just so that she can come to La Hinge to our meeting. I said, wow, that was really dedication. So then she picked up the ball. She never stopped running. She just ran with the ball. And she's younger. She's more energetic, more savvy in the, I guess, technology, more so than myself, even though I try to keep up. Seems like I just got used to one technology, then something else moved on. I'm not going to say much, but I'll let her tell you what she has to tell you, and a lot to say about the support that our president has within this community. So again, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Ryan Nasdaq also helped a great deal, and a lot of young people, people of diverse backgrounds, and I've been around a long time, but I've never seen such enthusiasm, such great support for our president. So let's make it happen. Okay, take it away. April Wang, let's give her a hand. So that's my introduction to April. Thank you.
April is our.
Okay.
All right, April Wang is our speaker. She is here from the Trump campaign, where she's involved with the Asian outreach. So what can you tell us about the Trump campaign? How can we get more involved? How can we do more? Go ahead, April.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Josephine. Hi, everyone. I'm April Wang. I'm so happy to see everyone here. I've been to La Hinge for Trump Thursday many times before. I love that restaurant and miss you guys. My favorite dish is the Mediterranean platter. Well, first of all, let me take a moment to thank all of you for your friendship and support. Thank you, Dwight, Mark, and Josephine, and everyone in Montgomery County for Trump for inviting me to speak at this event. I'm truly honored to talk here. Well, last few years, I enjoyed so many awesome events organized by our MDGOP, Republican Women Clubs, and Montgomery County Republican Party, and the Montgomery County Republican Club. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Well, the coalition of Trump campaign I served is called Asian Pacific Americans for Trump. It's a tremendous honor for me to serve on the advisory board on this of this coalition. Today, I will talk about the importance of Asian Americans' support of President Trump. And I'll provide the updates about what we're doing for President Trump. As you know, 2020 is the most crucial election in history of our nation. We Asian Americans stand with President Trump. We believe he's the choice of law and order. We cannot put up with chaos and nonsense anymore. It's truly important for everyone to get involved. Together, we can make a difference. Well, let me give you an introduction to Asian Pacific Americans for Trump. This is a coalition launched by Trump campaign in May. The mission of this coalition is to engage Asian communities across the country to get more Asian votes for President Trump. Since the day he took the office, President Trump has been fulfilling his promises to make America great again for all Americans. Asian Americans are no exception. Under President Trump's leadership, the Asian Americans' unemployment rate has reached a record low of 2.1% before coronavirus. And Asian Americans are the biggest beneficiaries of the Tax Cut Job Act, receiving an average tax cut of $2,500. While we stand with President Trump to defend freedom and defend the American dream because we want to create a bright future with abundant opportunities for our children. We cherish the United States as our precious homeland. We are patriots through and through. We want to do our best to ensure President Trump's victory in November, so our communities and families can continue to thrive under the leadership of President Trump for 4 more years. Well, on May 29th, Lara Trump, senior advisor for Trump Victory Campaign, hosted the virtual launching program on Team Trump Online with Secretary of Transportation Department, Elaine Chao, kicking off the event. Arizona State Treasurer Kimberly Yee and Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes are both co-chairs of this coalition. I was incredibly honored to learn that I was one of 24 advisory board members for this coalition about a week before its kickoff event. I'm so grateful to the wonderful leadership of Esther Lu, Trump Victory's Director of Asian Engagement, and Dr. Marina Zhang, Asia Media Director for Trump Victory. I really appreciate their recommendations for me to be on this position. Well, personally, it's like a dream come true for me. It's now not only an honor for me, but a calling for me. I'm representing the first generation immigrants on this board who are loyal patriots. We are the people who cherish the rights to participate in this democratic process in the United States, in contrast to Asian countries where people who lack of civil liberties are risking their lives fighting for voting rights. I actually thought of the times where I was at Tiananmen Square in Beijing in 1989. I was one of tens of thousands of students calling for democracy and freedom there. But our peaceful protests were crushed by military tanks. So my story is a proof that it's only in the United States that someone like me could have a chance like this to be involved in a presidential election at this level. America indeed is a land of opportunity. This is why people all over the world say America is a beacon of freedom. Well, as you know, this election is not about the political candidates personally. It's about which direction our country is going in the future. It's a fight between the good and the evil. As an advisory board member for this Asian coalition, I felt this position is so special because I joined this fight representing not only Asian voters here in the US, but also those people who have died for democracy and freedom all over the world. So I told myself I will work hard on this position for not only Asian communities in United States, but for those people who have died or sacrificed so much during their pursuit of freedom and democracy. Well, how did I get involved? Now let me tell you a little bit about my background. I was born in a small town in northern China. I went to Boise State University for my master's degree in communication in 1996. After graduation, I've been working in DC for a nonprofit organization that's part of the American Public Diplomacy, promoting democracy and freedom. I've been in DC area for 22 years. I became a US citizen in 2006. A few years ago, my son told me he wanted to be a lawmaker when he grew up. I was struck by what he said. I thought that was unbelievable. I thought I must learn something about domestic politics, so I will be able to give him some good influence. At least in the future, I can make a conversation with him. So that's the initial motivation for me to look at political news. When I voted for President Trump in 2016, my son asked me, "Why do you vote for him?" I said, "He's a successful billionaire. I believe if he can run a company so successfully, he can run a country successfully too." As a Christian, I was inspired by so many prominent spiritual leaders in our country who encouraged Christians to participate in civil movements. As you know, before 2016 election, many spiritual leaders said it's God that chose President Trump to be the president of the United States. So I joined an organization called the POTUS Shield in 2017. We prayed together for President Trump and his administration. I also joined the National Republican Asian Assembly in 2017. This is an organization that founded in 1986, headquartered in Washington, D.C. Secretary Elaine Chao was a member of this organization before. A few leaders of this organization have been on presidential campaigns Asian Advisory Board before. Alfred Liu, Kiwi Kuma, and Josephine Wang are wonderful senior leaders of this organization who have encouraged me to be a leader. They told me, don't go to potlucks to kill the time. When you are free, when you have time, go to political events to get your feet wet. We Asian Americans need to get our voice heard and to have more representations in the political arena. I have some experience doing volunteering work for our community. I designed the website for the Howard County Parents Association in 2015. I also have some campaign experience. I helped a Republican Chinese American candidate to run for Howard County Council in 2017. I just love volunteer work, and I began to understand how important it is for every citizen to step up and fight for the values we hold dear and near. It's especially important for Asian Americans to become more vocal because traditionally, Asian communities tend to be silent in terms of a political statement, political involvement, partially because in the countries we're from, freedom of speech and political involvement are not encouraged. I have been working with RNC representing National Republican Asian Assembly for some time. I translated RNC's palm card into Chinese and attended a few trainings they hosted. Of course, in Maryland, I took many useful campaign training classes provided by MDGOP, MCGOP, and our wonderful women clubs. In addition, I took online classes from Wharton Business School, University of Pennsylvania last year, and got a certificate of leadership and management program. So when I learned I'm on the Asian Pacific American for Trump Coalition Board, Advisory Board, I'm kind of, I'm very excited and confident. I know I can learn things quickly, even this is the first time I get involved in presidential campaign. And I'm really committed to motivating more people in Asian community to get involved. And next, let me tell you a little bit about the Asian community in general. Asian Americans comprise about 6% of the population, totally about 20 million. Asian Americans are a diverse group. Think about the food. Curry chicken is Indian food. Dim sum is Chinese. Sushi is Japanese. Kimchi is Korean. Pho soup is Vietnamese. When I just came to United States in 1996, I was amazed how popular these Asian restaurants are in the United States. It's amazing how this great country embraces diversity. If anyone say America is racist, I really don't believe it. We don't believe it. We Asian immigrants don't believe it. So why we came to this country? Asian Americans are fastest growing immigrant group in the US, tracing the roots to about 20 countries in Asia. America, of course, is the best country in the world. America spells for democracy, freedom, diversity, and opportunity. We came this country for better and equal opportunity. My English teacher told me in 90s that in America, everyone has the equal opportunity to pursue your dream, to find a job, to make a living, and to succeed, in contrast to corruption and lack of a level playing field in socialist countries. So we are incredibly grateful for the opportunity to live in this great country and see our kids grow in this best country in the world. We really love this country. We know we are blessed. And now let's talk about Asians and election. Among 20 million Asians in the US, 11 million are eligible voters this year, making up nearly 5% of the nation's eligible voters. And a majority of these 11 million eligible Asian voters are first-generation immigrants like me. Well, typically Asian Americans are swing voters. In 1992, most of Asian Americans voted for President Bush. In 2016, a majority of Asians voted for Hillary. Usually, Asians do not think much about the policies and issues. They tend to vote for incumbent. This year, I see a trend that Asians are more leaning toward President Trump and Republicans because of chaos and nonsense anarchists, what they're doing now. And as you know, in our country, there's many states where you see a large Asian population. California, 5 million, New York, 1.5 million, Texas, 1.1 million, and New Jersey, Hawaii, Ohio, Washington, Florida, all are the areas that a lot of Asians live. And in Virginia, 520,000 Asians, Pennsylvania, 402,000 Asians, Maryland, 370,000 Asians. 60% of if you think about 60% of them are eligible voters, that's about 200,000 eligible voters in Asian communities in Maryland. Well, with these numbers in mind, we know Asian voters can be influential, and it's important to engage this community. And now the most important question, why Asian Americans should support President Trump, why we support President Trump. So, though 60% of eligible Asian voters are foreign-born, speaking different language, we share common values such as education, family, hard work. We are goal-oriented, achievement-oriented. We study hard and work hard. President Trump is a decisive and brilliant leader, in our opinion. He's a man of action. He understands what are the priorities for our country moving forward, and he understands the complexity of international competitions. We literally like everything he said and everything he did, most of the thing he did. When he and his family members talk, we feel the way they talk are very sensible. They set the right priorities for their work, and they find the right solutions for the problems facing our nation. Make America Great Again. Such an amazing movement. America first, best foreign policy we ever had. We love the vision President Trump has for our country. Economy, jobs, national security, tax cut. We are so happy to see President Trump has worked on these important issues that we care about most. And he has done so much in 3 years. Coming from socialist countries, we know socialism does not work. It's a free market and a free enterprise system that motivates human beings to work and to create wealth. Capitalism spells for profit and jobs. Socialism and red tapes kill jobs. When we hear President Trump say, America will never be a socialism country, we thought that was so powerful that everyone in my network was retweeting it. We as legal immigrants oppose illegal immigration and sanctuary city policies. We support President Trump when he's tough on this kind of issues. We don't like the talk about marijuana legalization. It's absurd. We love First Lady Melania Trump's slogan, be best. And President Trump is a champion of religious liberty. 40% of Asian Americans are actually Christian. A lot of my team volunteers are Christians. We know President Trump is the most pro-faith president ever. Overall, we are absolutely in awe at the achievements of President Trump have made during the last 3 years. Make America Great Again. President Trump did it in a short 3 years before coronavirus. And only he can do it in the next 4 years. He's the only one who knows how to do it. That's why we need to vote for him in November. Okay, next, what we have done, what we are doing for the re-election of President Trump. As a member of Asian Pacific Americans for Trump Coalition Advisory Board, I started to build my team in May. We are under direction of Esther Lu, Trump campaign's Asian Engagement Director. We also work with Trump campaign's Regional Engagement Coordinator, Andrew Snow in Virginia. Both of them are excellent leaders. And we are working on 3 areas: phone banking, vote registration, door knocking. We first started with phone banking. Initially, we worked on Trump Talk. One of the task lists on Trump Talk was for Republican Congressman candidate Mark Garcia for special election on May 12th. I made 800 calls for him on Trump Talk. I was so excited that he won that race. as you know. And since June, we have started to use Campaign Sidekick to help Virginia at the direction of Asa Lu, Trump Victory's Director for Asian Engagement, and Regional Engagement Coordinator, Andrew Snow. I became the administrator of Sidekick, so I can easily create accounts for new volunteers on my team. And I conduct phone banking training weekly. Currently, I've got 79 volunteers on phone banking team. During last 2 months, the total calls we made reaching out to Virginia voters are over 43,000 calls. I'm so grateful that I have a great team. We are fast learners. We work so hard for phone banking. To think about it, with coronavirus going on, I told my volunteers, phone banking is one of the best ways we can reach voters from the comfort of our home. Why phone banking is important? Well, phone banking is an effective way to identify voters. The typical question we ask on Sidekick is, do you plan to vote for President Trump on November 3rd if someone pick up the phone and talk to us? Then we record their answers, yes, no, and sure, refused. All these answers, the responses are important to the campaign from the perspective of research. And we can also remind voters to get out to vote on election day with phone banking. When called California voters on May 12th for Mark Garcia on Trump Talk, I did get someone on the phone who said, "Thank you for calling. I was not going to go out to vote. Because you called, I will go." So it worth it. Every vote counts. Voter registration. We set up a voter registration drive at Great Wall Supermarket in Falls Church, Virginia, a couple weeks ago. We register voters over the weekend. Door knocking. For door knocking, we designed a contactless process to make sure people not so scared of door knocking. You know, we provide door knocking training over Zoom. Volunteers install Campaign Sidekick on their phone. They get the task list on Sidekick app. Then they can go out to the target neighborhood directly from their home. Everyone will be required to wear a face mask. When we knock someone's door, we can use a tissue to press a doorbell or wear a glove. Then we back up 10 feet to keep distance if someone opens the door. So if someone comes out of the door or opens the door, we can try to make a conversation, do a survey with them over on our phone app. Keeping our volunteers safe is our priority. It's my responsibility to reduce the risk of contracting coronavirus to the lowest level, minimum for my volunteers. How do we recruit volunteers? Some of my team members are associated with the National Republican Asian Assembly. Some are Republican friends in Montgomery County, Howard County, and Virginia. Some are just people who we never met on social media. They are from other blue states. I set up at least 15 social media chatting groups with total about 1,000 members. They're all Trump supporters. I run two or three Zoom meetings every week to communicate with my volunteers, solving problems, managing everything, and try to get new volunteers. I also made calls myself. I made 1,900 calls on Trump Talk and over 5,000 calls on Sidekick. I literally actually 30, 40 hours a week into this. We are working hard every single day, all the way up to November 3rd. Well, at the same time, we are having fun. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. We get to know new friends. We exchange the responses from the people we called. Some people are surprised. Who are you? Where are you from? Why foreigners are calling us? Because we have an accent, obviously. So we try to talk to them. If they say they are not going to vote for President Trump, sometimes we ask them why. And sometimes they give the answers, and then we sometimes we tell them why we support President Trump. We don't think he's racist and everything. And if they say they're going to vote for Biden, and then we would say, okay, you're going to vote for Biden to defund the police. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to engage voters over the phone or just by door knocking. Well, lastly, my prediction about Asian vote is that we are going to see an increase in Asian vote for President Trump this year. Because from social media, I can see an incredible amount of enthusiasm from Asian community for President Trump. There are so many diehard Trump supporters out there in Asian communities. That's why I can recruit so many volunteers for my team. We just like the way President Trump does things. We think that's the way a real leader should be. Socialism agenda is antithetical to Asian Americans coming from Asian countries. We know too well many dangers of socialism that leads to the destruction of a country. We do not like to hear about socialism again. We escape from them, from socialism. Most importantly, with all these looting and violence going on, many Asian Americans are waking up. They change from Democrat to Republican. I can see that in New York, in California. What is happening in our country? All these violent protests, toppling down monuments, looting stores, attacking police, and defunding police movement really remind us cultural revolution in China. It's absurd and really absurd. Is this world crazy? Is this America we are familiar with? These are the questions my social media group members asked. One volunteer even told me one day, sometime in June, she said she could not make phone calls this week because she's so distressed, she's frustrated, she's crying when she saw the church is burning down on TV, the church near the White House. So we really don't want to see our country going to that direction. We need a law and order. This lawlessness has to stop. To think we immigrants came to this country for opportunity, democracy, and freedom, and for peaceful life. Now these radical mobs, friends of Democrats, destroying this great country in the name of freedom, rights, and democracy. We are not that kind of people. We didn't come to this country with entitlement mentality. We don't want everything for free. You know, just like a race, we understand everybody is the same at the starting point, at the starting line. Everybody has equal opportunity to pursue your dream, to try to do something, but the results may be different. You know, there's a champion of the race, top 3, top 5. You may fall down when you run. You know, other people some people may get thirsty. Some people just run so fast. Some people are born with a fast speed. So you really cannot complain when you see the results are different. Then you complain about the starting point, the finish line. Everybody reach the finish line at different time. That's not the reason we say this country is racist. There's no equal opportunity. We need more rights. That's not right. That's just nonsense. That's anarchist. A lot of people we see those mobs, they just have this evil. They're evil occupied in their mind. They're criminals. They are just literally criminals. We support President Trump if he sent federal agents, federal troops to those areas. The chaos must stop. So many of my volunteers say, we come to this country for American dream. Law and order is the foundation of everything. We cannot let crazy Democrats to destroy our life, to destroy our American dream, our country, and the future for our children. We must join this fight for the sake of ourselves, for our children. We must stand with President Trump. So I think that's what I see. More Asians are awakening up. More people have come to realization that this election is about America. It's about if America will still be America after this election. Well, we only have less than 90 days until November 3rd. It's crazy to think about it. You know, in some states, early voting even starts in September. Virginia, absentee ballots start to go out in September too. So we'll continue to work hard. We hope to get more people involved. We pray in November, we'll see a victory for President Trump. We will deliver a victory for President Trump because we know only he can lead us to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity for me to share my story, the thoughts, and what we are doing for President Trump.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Marcus, we're just going to swing the camera around to show everybody.
Oh, yeah, I just did.
Okay, got it.
Just did.
Oh, yeah, step over,
Well,
yeah, there we go.
there are more people behind us, so.
Yeah, no, I got them. Yeah, so
There we go.
There we
See? There we go. Great crowd.
I actually have some questions in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions?
Many questions.
Go ahead.
April,
Yes.
we understand each other because I came from the Soviet Union.
Wow, nice to meet you.
And the Soviet Union is, right?
Yes.
So we have the same feelings toward what's going on right now. My
Right.
question is, what can we do here? I mean, like, this is my first meeting with Republican Montgomery County, group. I was trying to find someone for a long time on the website, and I couldn't find anyone. Because first of all, there's a very little information on what's going on in Montgomery County. So we need to have better, I think, maybe technical support for meetings and events that are going on right now. The other thing is that, we live in a very nice neighborhood of a very, I would say, unfriendly environment. And, we had wonderful relations with our neighbors before. And of course, everything changed. And to tell them that we're voting for Trump, it just basically immediately creates a very hostile environment. So since you are so right, that it's not just in between Trump and Biden, it's between America and something completely chaos, basically. A country that we did not even can imagine, it will be worse than Soviet Union. I can feel it. It will be worse than the Soviet Union, it will be worse than communist China, it will be worse. So maybe we need to do something with our neighbors who actually have some relations with, that can convince them that they have to change their mind. And it has to be very, I would say, fine-tuned for changing their mind, because as soon as you say Trump, you know, they are like, oh my gosh. You cannot say this thing because, you know, it's such an emotional response. They don't have any, like, logic in that. You cannot talk with them because they lose their analytical skills as soon as you say name Trump. So maybe we need to actually think of some other tactics to talk to these people and say what actually can expect them. I mean, when they can what can they see if Trump will not win? I mean, like, we need to speak about Omar and Lai and people who are hating this country, who want to really demolish it, who want to completely disrupt it, to say that what's going on in Seattle and Portland right now, it will happen to all cities. And basically, you know the guy, right? Andy Dubois, I think his name is, who was following Antifa from the very beginning of 2016. And he said that if we will not stop, we will have that in all cities.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? We can get you plugged in with, if you've signed up online and you're actually sitting next to probably the best person in Montgomery County to get you plugged in as a volunteer, but I know April get folks as well and get you plugged into the Trump talk. So,
and if you go to the Montgomery County Republican Club website, which is montgomerycountyrepublicanclub.com, we have a whole thing. We have a whole section there called Army of Trump. If you go to MontgomeryCountyRepublicanClub.com, we have a whole section there.
Say it again, Montgomery what?
MontgomeryCountyRepublicanClub.com. There is a quick button there you can't miss it. It's called Army for Trump. It tells you how you can get active in the Trump campaign and how to volunteer. We've had it up for about 6 months or so.
Can we get a sign? I want a sign for my lawn.
There's actually a sign up there. If you go there, there's a link where you can get a sign up for a sign.
They're sold out on the website.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's are for sale.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
But you really have 30 people
Biden's
sign in
signs
there.
are for sale. Some are sold out.
okay,
Okay, and by the way, we begin to catch this April speech if you want to share with your friends or YouTube. Go to the MontgomeryCountyRepublicanClub.com and click the YouTube icon. You'll get to catch this a little bit later and feel free to share with your friends.
thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
April.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
So,
Several. No.
so just to reiterate, we are going to try to continue doing hybrid events as much as possible to both engage people in person and online. So I just wanted to update people with that. This is Mark Salzona. Josephine both mentioned, and you just heard from Dwight Patel, as Josephine mentioned before. Josephine has been working with all of us to help coordinate this in Montgomery County. And Jeff, I don't know, did you want to mention something or just say hello?
I can do that. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Hi, everybody. Glad you all could make it in person. And thank you, April, for that great talk. I appreciate that. I actually like to do negative research. In other words, I watch fake news sometimes. So I don't know how many of you were watching Channel 4 local news last night when Alan Lichtman was on. Some of you in the Washington area may know Alan. He is a political history or a political professor at American University, and he is a huge liberal. But he has a system of 13 keys where he has predicted the presidential election since the 80s. He was a lone liberal that predicted Trump's win last time. And if you go ahead and Google his name, Alan Lichtman, you can read about his 13 keys. I watched it last night, and he's predicting a Biden win.
What?
I know, but it's worth looking at the bad guys to find out why he thinks that's true. What are those 13 keys can we help President Trump with to make Alan Lichtman's prediction the first wrong one he's ever done in his life? So that's one thing that I saw that I thought was important to pass along to you all. It's interesting to watch fake news every once in a while and see what they're doing. I don't always watch One American News, although I do go there for my real news, but I still watch the local news for my weather reports and whatnot. And I happened to see this last night, and I thought it was important to pass it along to you all. Other than that, I just can't wait till I can get back in the bar and have a nice Guinness with you all and some food. And that's I'm going to keep it short and sweet. And thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you, Jeff, for that. And we want to thank everybody both over at La Hinge, online on Zoom, and also watching on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you all so much for coming out to this month's Trump Thursday, and we hope to see you either in person or online next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.